Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. I start with the apology from Sheikh Yusuf. He just SMS'd me that he couldn't come today because he has an urgent meeting, but he said he could have probably finished that early and join us. Inshallah ta'ala, actually today we're gonna finish the Seerah of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Almost 2 years ago we started this talk. The intention was to to gather summarize the Seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and talk about it the Fajr after the Sunday Fajr prayer. And that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years. And Alhamdulillah, I give sincere thanks to the committee members of this Masjid because they have allowed me to stand here and talk about this topic, and also the brothers who helped me all the way through. All these episodes have been videoed in the YouTube and everything, and all the brothers who helped me, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the reward for that, inshallah ta'ala. So today we'll begin what we have finished last Sunday morning after the Fajr. We finished the Hajjatul Wada, the farewell Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we'll start from there. And usually we do this 20 minutes or 25 minutes in the Fajr time, but because this is the last episode and we're talking about the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it could be a bit longer, maybe 25 to 30 minutes. So inshallah ta'ala, within that time we'll try to finish all the incidents that can be captured. So the few incidents before Rasulullah sallallahu got sickness. So obviously Rasulullah finished his Hajj in the Hajjatul Wada, and he didn't delay a single day. Basically, the 3 days after he stayed in the Medina, in Mina. So after the third day, on 13th of Jilhaj, he started from Medina. So towards the Medina from Mecca. So he finished the Hajj and he came to Medina. And from that time till the whole month and the time of Muharram, the month of Muharram, there's no major incidents. So only one thing, that the hadith about the fasting of Ashura. At that time, Rasulullah said that as you all know, this is a hadith from Rasulullah that he used to fast in the 10th of Muharram. Then some Sahaba came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, this is a tradition of the Jewish, and they also fast in the 10th of Muharram. Then Rasulullah said, from next year, if I live, I will fast also in 9th. So I'll fast 9th and also 10th from next year if I live. So that is also already an indication from him. Obviously, Rasulullah didn't know the exact time and that when he's going to die. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know when a person will die. Doesn't matter he's a Nabi or Sadiqin or Salihin. But he has indication, and as we will see today, there's a lot of indication Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given of Rasulullah about his death. So he said that from next year, if I live, I will fast both of them. And that's why in the time of Muharram and time of Ashura, we fast 2 days or sometimes 3 days. So that is the only thing in the Muharram. The next big thing, and the last command from Rasulullah, as you can say, as a military perspective, it is the expedition to Asham, the area of Syria and Philistine, basically the Jerusalem, all these things to be conquered. And Rasulullah ordered Usama ibn Zaid. Usama ibn Zaid, if you all know, he is the son of Haris ibn Zaid, Zaid ibn Haris. So Rasulullah selected him as the leader to run this expedition. And this is one of the last things that he is not going to take part, but all the big Sahaba will take part in this expedition. And because Usama was only 17 or 18 years old at that time, so people start to talk about his leadership. Although he was appointed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is a point to be noted here. Even in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has made a decision, but still people are talking about the leadership. They are thinking, okay, Abu Bakr is here, Umar is here, why he's going to lead? Also, there's another question, because his lineage, Usama's lineage from a slave lineage. His father, basically, he was the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he is not from Quraysh. He's not from Quraysh, so he's not like a noble lineage. So people start talking about that, but Rasulullah called the people and in a gathering, and he said, he criticized them. No, look, this is my decision, and his father was a noble person. His father did so. He basically praised Zaid bin Harisa and told them what Zaid did. And they said, no, Usama will be the leader and he will run this expedition. And the purpose of this actually, because as I said, this is the last military expedition as commanded by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the indication is very clear Rasulullah didn't want the Islam to be in the Arab zone only. He wanted to spread. So that's why he's sending the army to the far right, to the far north, to the Syria and to the Sham and to the Palestine and all these places so that Islam can spread it. And this is the message the Sahaba took. And as you all know the history, that this is what happened and Islam spread all over the world. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we become all Muslim because of this effort, because of the dawah of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. After these events, there are few things that we need to mention before the ending of the life of Rasulullah. As I mentioned before, that Allah has given this indication a lot of time in the Quran. And Sahaba recited this ayah and everything. But still, they used to love Rasulullah so much that it is unbelievable for them that they're going to lose Rasulullah. So there are some indication been given in the Quran by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're going to mention few of them here. For example, the Surah Al-Zumar, Allah said that, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتٌ, meaning that definitely you will die. Allah is talking to Rasulullah, definitely you will die. It is not that you're going to live forever. And also they will die. Here they means the people of the Makkah and everything, that they will also die. Also in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse number 34, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, we have guaranteed nobody, we haven't given nobody the life of like everlasting life. Khulud. In Arabic it's called khulud, like the everlasting life. And do you think, they're going to live forever? So Allah is basically saying in this ayah, I haven't given the everlasting life to you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can they think that they're going to live forever? So this is another indication that yes, like all other human beings, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also come to the end of his life. And then the Surah Ali Imran, and this is the very famous verse that Abu Bakr recited. Will come to that at the end of this. And as the verse says, "Wama Muhammad inna Rasul qad khalad min Qabli Rasul," meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad is a Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like other Rasul. And the other Rasul also passed away, and he will also pass away. And if he dies or killed, this ayah of Surah Ali Imran was revealed during the Battle of Uhud. And as you all probably know, in the Battle of Uhud, the Muslim had a great loss. And there was a rumor among the people that, Rasulullah got killed. At one stage, some Sahaba heard the news that Rasulullah got killed. And that time, after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this message, put this verse in the Quran. Allah saying that, even if Rasulullah died, do you gonna turn back from Islam? He is the Rasul like all other Rasul, and all other Rasul passed away, he will also pass away. But, you should not turn away from the Islam. And the last but not the least, this surah that you all know about this, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. This surah, as you all know, this is the ending, the mission, the mission of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has come to an end. As Allah is saying, that giving the news of the victory, you can see people are coming to Islam, in multitude of amount. They're flocking together and coming from different part of the Arab land and accepting Islam. And this is the victory. And then at the end of this surah, Allah says, "Fasabbih bihamdi rabbika wastaghfir." So start doing, tasbih of your Lord and pray and also do istighfar because your mission is completed. And this is the surah that's very explicit that the tafsir of the surah is very important, that it has been mentioned. This is the end of the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Other than these Quranic verses also, there are few other incidents that we know from the hadith source, that the Jibril usually he used to come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the time of Ramadan and used to recite the Quran like we do in the Taraweeh. Jibril used to come and recite the whole Quran to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the time of Ramadan. Just before he died that year, Jibril recited it twice. And Rasulullah said that this is an indication that, probably this is the last time Jibril is reciting. So he recited twice the Quran in 1 month, in one Ramadan. And that is one of the indications that, Rasulullah is going to pass this world very soon. The next thing is that, the advice of Muaz ibn Jabal. Muaz ibn Jabal was a famous companion. And when he sent by Rasulullah as a governor to Yemen. And just before he was leaving, Rasulullah giving him some advice. And before he started giving the advice, he told Muaz, "Oh Muaz, when you come back from Yemen, maybe you won't see me. Probably this is the last year, this is the last time I'm seeing you." And it is a very, if you read this story, when Muaz was leaving Medina and going towards the Yemen, he was in an animal, probably in his camel or in his horse, and Rasulullah was holding the horse and carrying his horse. So he's mounting the animal, and Rasulullah is carrying it and giving him advice. And because he used to love Muaz a lot, and he said, "Oh Muaz, you're going to a land of the Ahle Kitab, so be nice to them." And all this nice advice he gave to Muaz ibn Jabal. But at the beginning he said, "Oh Muaz, probably this is the last time you're going to see me. And when you come back next year, probably you won't see me here." The next thing is that the khutbah of Hajjatul Wada, and that's why we mentioned it last Sunday, that why this is called Hajjatul Wada. Wada means farewell. Why? And in Rasulullah himself said, this is the farewell Hajj. He was saying goodbye. The last sermon that he was talking about, this is the last time I'm talking to you guys. Maybe next year you won't come. And people who already went to Hajj and who are going to Hajj, you will see there's a famous hadith where Rasulullah said, "Khuzu anni manasikum." Take the rituals from me. Because this is the only time he did Hajj. Only one time he did Hajj, and he's telling to the people, learn all the rituals from me. And because this is the last time he's doing it. He's not going to come back anymore. So it is the indication also that this is the Hajjatul Wada. This is the last time he's coming to the Kaaba and making the tawaf around the Kaaba. The next thing is the dua at Uhud. During this time, so the month of Muharram passed away. During the time of month of Safar, after the expedition gone, one day Rasulullah went to the battlefield of Uhud. And in Uhud, as I mentioned, almost 70 Sahaba was being martyred. And he stood in front of the Uhud, and he made dua and increasing the dua after dua after dua. And he's making so much dua, and he's telling the people of Shuhada that, just wait, you are lucky that you have been accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a shaheed, and I will be waiting for you in the Haud, in Al-Kawthar. So he's giving them glad tidings that he's going to meet them very soon, and he's making a dua for those people. Also, one night, just before the end of the month of Safar, just before the Rabiul Awal, one night Rasulullah woke up, and he had a servant, his name was Abu Muhib. So he went to Abu Muhib and said, "Yeah, Abu Muhib, Allah has commanded me to go to Baqi al-Gharqad." Baqi al-Gharqad is the graveyard just beside the as you all know, the Jannatul Baqi as we call that. So Rasulullah said, Allah has commanded me to go there at night. So he went there and he made dua for them. And he told those, when he's making dua, he said again, he gave the glad tidings to them, and he said, you are lucky because you have passed away during the time when Islam was in a difficult time. So your reward is more. Because those people who are buried in the Baqi at that time, so they have been killed, last year probably in the Battle of Uhud, or maybe before Battle of Badr, or different expedition, or some of them probably passed away by sickness. What Rasulullah is saying to them, the time is coming, the fitna time, and this is the time we are living. He's saying that you guys are lucky because you passed away during the time of Islam was very difficult. Now Islam is easy, but a lot of fitna will be coming. And Rasulullah telling them, so that the generation that coming after that, they will face a lot of fitna, and and he's giving them glad tidings that and he's also told them that I'm gonna come and see you very soon. And then Rasulullah said to the Abu Muhib, his servant, "Yeah, Abu Muhib, Allah has given me two choices." What are the two choices? Allah has told me that He can give me a life of everlasting life until the day of judgment, and then I will have Jannah. Or the second choice that I can accept the death now and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Abu Muhib, the servant, said, "Ya Rasulullah, choose the first one. You live with us all the time. We want you all the time for all our generation. Don't leave us." Then Rasulullah, "No, I have already made my choice. I will see my Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by accepting the death." So these are the indications that Rasulullah give in different occasions during the month of Safar. And then the few days of severe sickness. And a lot of books says that this sickness of Rasulullah stayed probably 10 days or 11 days. And as you all know, Rasulullah passed 12th of Rabiul Awal. So we can say maybe he started having the fever and headache from the 2nd of Rabiul Awal, or some scholars say 1st of Rabiul Awal. Anyway, this, because Rasulullah has, at that time he has 9 wives, and he has different day, he has to go to different wives. And one day he went to the house of Maimuna radhiyallahu ta'ala anha. She was one of the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he started having little bit of fever and headache at that time. But he still continued as usual. So he still going to the prayer, leading the prayer and everything. But very soon the situation getting worse and worse. And then he gathered all his wife, and he asked permission from them. Look, he doesn't need to ask permission because he is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He doesn't need to do this. But still, till the end, he is telling us the sunnah, being courteous, being humble and everything. He's telling, he gathered all the wives and he said, "Look, I am very sick. It is not possible for me to go every houses. I like to have your permission to stay, maybe my sickness pure, to the house of Aisha." As you all know that he used to love Aisha a lot. So he asked, if you are all okay, I want to spend my sickness time in the house of Aisha. And obviously everybody agreed. And at that time, Aisha radiallahu anha, the fever getting day by day, it's getting increasing, and he had a severe migraine headache. And Aisha radiallahu anha used to do different type of surah, like Surah Al-Falaq, Surah Al-Nas, and do all the ruqayya on him, and also give him the water, the cold water, put the hairband on the turban on the head, so that the hair gets. All this thing was done by Aisha, and Aisha radiallahu anha explained that this is the first time she's attending some sick people, because she's very young. She never had to do this before, and this is her husband, and she loves him a lot, and she's doing her best to give the best service to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And by this time, the news already spread to the Medina that yes, Rasulullah is having a very bad headache and very bad fever. So what people did, because all the people are following him, because he's the imam, he's the leader, he's the teacher of that time. So people come in the masjid and they start staying in the masjid. So they start camping in the masjid basically. Like we do itikaf. So they said no, until he get fixed, until he get better, we will stay in the masjid. So all the people stay in the masjid. And at that time, the books of the Seerah doesn't say like which day what happened. But most probably one Jummah, the last Jummah, because Rasulullah passed away in a Monday. So he had the Friday Jummah. Because if he didn't do the Jummah, it could have been written that Rasulullah missed the Jummah. But no books say that he missed the Jummah. So it was a Jummah khutbah, and in that khutbah he gives some advice, as he always do. He cursed the people of the Christian and Jews, and he said, Allah's curse on those people. Why? Because those group, they make their prophet's grave as a place of worship. Look here, he's giving the hadith, he's giving an advice related to the graveyard of the prophets. What he's trying to say basically, look, I'm going to be passing very soon. So don't do the same thing that they did with their prophets. So don't make my graveyard as a place of worship. And then also there, he said, after that, be good to the people. And also he asking the whole Jama'ah, if someone, I owe someone some money, ask me from now. And he's asking again and again and again. And he's asking so many times, no Sahaba will say, no, yeah, you owe me money or something. But one of the Sahaba, he said, yes, Ya Rasulullah, you asking me so many times, I feel if I don't tell it, if I hide it, it could be a sin for me. So one day actually, you were passing by and there was a beggar, and you asked if anybody has any change, give it to this person. So I had, 3 dinar, I give it to the beggar, and you didn't pay me back. So Rasulullah say, okay, right away, I give you back again. But that Sahaba said this because he saw Rasulullah asking so much, so that's why he told that he owed 3 dinar from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also not only that, Rasulullah said, if I have hurt anyone, my back is here. So he turned around and he showed his back. Come and hit me now, because I don't want to go to the day of judgment and get that punishment from that guy. Imagine, he is the Prophet of Allah, he is the leader. At that time, because this is the end of his life, he is controlling the whole Arab land, Makkah, Medina, and all, even the Yemen is under his control. Even the Bahrain is under his control now. But still he's asking, he's opening his back and saying, if I hurt anyone by any way, please come and hit me now and make it even in this dunya, not in the hereafter. And then he said, in the last of the khutbah, he said, Allah's, among the servant of Allah, there is a servant, and Allah has given him an option. The same thing that he's told to Abu Muhib, the option is, he can even choose to live forever, or he can accept the death and meet his Lord. But he didn't mention his name. So everybody thought this is like a general thing he's talking about. But Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anhu, he understood. And in front of all people, he started sobbing and crying. And then, people was got surprised. Why Abu Bakr is crying? Rasulullah saying a normal thing. Like, there was a servant, Allah liked him, Allah gave him an option. So not everybody understood that thing, but Abu Bakr understood. And then Rasulullah said, yeah, Abu Bakr, you are the most trustworthy in your companionship, in your akhiyun in Islam. You are the most trustworthy to all my. When nobody believed in me, you believed in me. And then he said, all the doors of the masjid will be closed except for the door of Abu Bakr. At that time, in the Masjid of Rasulullah, so this is one wall. So this wall has another room on the other side. So like this is the house of Ali, this is the house of Usman, all these things, different Sahaba, because they don't have houses like we have. So one wall, they shared the wall. And every wall has a door, so they used to come from that door to the masjid. That's how it was. But Rasulullah ordered that after I passed away, all the doors will be closed except for the door of Abu Bakr. And that is a clear indication that, Abu Bakr will be the next Khalifa to rule the Ummah. And then after this one happened, and this is, as I said, this is probably the Jummah. So the Jummah happened on the same day, on Friday. He did Asr also with Jama. In the Maghrib time, he came and he was still very sick, but he still recited, he still led the prayer. And in the last surah that he recited out loud was Suratul Mursalat, and he did that, and then he went back to his house for Isha. During the Isha time, Bilal came back. And it was a tradition from Bilal that, after he give the adhan, he used to come knock the door of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Rasulullah's house is just next door, like it's attaching to the masjid. So he used to come and call, Ya Rasulullah, I have given the adhan, are you ready for Iqamah? So I'll give you the Iqamah now. So when he came, Rasulullah stood up to go to the prayer for the Isha. When he stood up, then he collapsed again. So he couldn't stand up anymore. Then Aisha put some more water. He stood up again. And some books say he tried 7 times. 7 times he tried to come to the Salah and lead the Salah of Isha, but he couldn't do it. And then he fall down in the bed and he asked Aisha, where is Abu Bakr? Call him and tell him to lead the prayer. So this is the time the the Imam is transferring now. And Aisha radiallahu anha, because of some reason, he doesn't want her father to be the Imam. What's the reason? Because, she thought, people will think that, Abu Bakr is taking advantage. This is a common thing in our, someone is pushing you for Imam and everything. You may think, no, what people will think. And then Rasulullah said, no, call him. Call Abu Bakr. He's screaming and he's asking for call. And then Aisha said, Ya Rasulullah, my father, he's a very soft-hearted man. And, when he's going to start the praying, he's going to cry in the prayer. Because he's very, and people may not like it. Then Rasulullah said, you women, he just called Aisha another way, you women, just like the woman of Yusuf, you are making a plan. I know this is then Allah won't allow anybody, and his Rasul will not allow anybody other than Abu Bakr to lead the prayer. And after that, some Sahaba, he went away and they found Abu Bakr and they brought Abu Bakr and he started leading the prayer from that Friday Isha time. And also it says that, after that Isha, the next morning Fajr, all this time Rasulullah couldn't go to the Jama. He was sick and Abu Bakr was leading the prayer. And it was said that during this time, so that was the last Maghrib that Rasulullah prayed lead the Jama in a loud voice. But during Sunday, some of the scholars say Sunday Zohar time, Rasulullah could come back to the mosque. So Abu Bakr was leading the prayer and Rasulullah came back. And actually, he was not coming by himself. Ali and another Sahaba, they are both carrying Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they are dragging basically Rasulullah because he wanted to join the prayer. And when he was coming from the back, everybody had a commotion. They had a noise. Then someone is coming. So Abu Bakr, what he did, he stepped back. He stepped back to give Rasulullah space to be the Imam. But Rasulullah was so sick he couldn't stand up. But Rasulullah came and told Abu Bakr, no, you stay and you continue. But still Abu Bakr didn't listen to Rasulullah. He stepped back and Rasulullah sit in the place of the Imam. So Rasulullah was sitting here in the place of the Imam and Abu Bakr was standing beside him. So people from the back, they are seeing Abu Bakr. They are not seeing Rasulullah sitting there. But actually the prayer was led by Rasulullah. Abu Bakr didn't obey out of respect, out of honor. He couldn't stand, he couldn't be, think like, I'm going to stand as an Imam and Rasulullah will be behind me. It cannot be happen. So he told Rasulullah, you sit down and I will be behind you. I'm just behind you. So that is the last Salah Rasulullah did as a Zohar Salah, and he did it as by sitting and he led the prayer. And after that, he gave few advice. This is the last few advice, the last lecture, as you can say, to the people of the Medina, to all the Sahaba. And the advice was, he praised the Ansar, the people of the Medina. Why? Because those are the people who give shelter and everything to the people of the Makkah. And all other people, they are the Muhajirun, so Ansar helped them a lot. So Rasulullah said, take care of the Ansar. They are the people of the good, so take care of them. And the next thing he said, the Arab land, the whole Jaziratul Arab, it should be out of shirk. There should be no paganism left in this land. So it will be a land without any kufr. So there's no two religion can exist in the Jaziratul Arab. And that's what his second advice. Then thirdly, he said, be good to your new delegation and converts. Meaning, people who are coming to Islam at that time, be nice and be soft to them. And the way I was dealing with them, you should also deal with them. So be nice to them. And the fourth thing he said, have a good thoughts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it mean? This is a very profound hadith. He said, as you think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you think Allah is merciful and everything, you will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as that way. So Rasulullah said, have good thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last advice he said, as-salah, as-salah, and as-salah. He's talking about, please, keep your salah, keep your salah, keep your salah. That's the only thing he was repeating. And at the end he said, وَمَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانِكُمْ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَمَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانِكُمْ, meaning fear Allah when you deal with the slaves or poor or orphan, the people who are lower in the society. Fear Allah, because they are the amana of Allah to you guys, so we be fair to them. And he's talking about the salah, obviously, the importance of salah and everything. So the properties that left behind by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he, in the morning, one of the, in Sunday, late Sunday, he was asking Aisha, yeah, Aisha, how much money I have at the moment. So Aisha looked through the whole room and everything, and she found only 7 silver coins. That was only money that Rasulullah had at that time. 7 silver coin at today's time, probably $10 or $15 maximum, even if you count like that way. Silver is very, very cheap. And that is the only money he had. And he told when he got the money in his hand, he told Aisha, yeah, Aisha, how I'm going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this money? How can I meet this? I shouldn't have any money. So he was pushing Aisha radhiyallahu anhu, give this money to the charity right now. Before I pass away, give it to the poor people and an orphan. So, that's what Aisha radhiyallahu anha did. Also, he had a mule. It's called, it's like it was a gift from the, we talked about it before, from one of the king from the Egypt. So it was a mule and its name was Duldul. And other than that, he has an armor for the, the war. But that armor also was kept with the Jewish people, so that the Jewish has a shopkeeper, is a Jewish shopkeeper. So Rasulullah got some barley, few box of barley or few bag of barley from this Jewish, and give as a pawn this armor to them. So even the armor also was not with him. And also he had a small piece of land, and that land he did give it to the poor people, for he waqf that land for the poor people. So these are the only things Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had, and all of them he also let it go by Aisha radhiyallahu anha. Now the last day of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the Monday we are talking about. At the Fajr time of the Monday, as usual, he was very, very sick and he couldn't go for the prayer. So people started the prayer. Abu Bakr was leading the prayer, and as we all say that the room of Rasulullah was next to the Masjid. So while they were in the prayer, in the first rakah, and they're reciting the surah and everything, Rasulullah take the curtain away. And when he moved the curtain, because it was so close, you can hear the noise. And everybody's intention and attention is towards the room of Rasulullah. When he moved the curtain, he was smiling. And all the Sahaba, Anas ibn radhiyallahu anhu, he said, we had a fitna basically, meaning we are about to lose our salah. And we have to run towards Rasulullah because he was smiling towards us. He was looking at the his ummah that he built, that they are praying the Fajr Salah in Jama'ah. That is the last scene he saw, in his masjid, that all the Sahaba, they standing in a row and praying the Fajr Salah. And people thought actually, by looking at the smiling face, they thought Rasulullah is feeling better actually. Because they feel good because he's smiling and his face was booming. And some of the hadith, some of the narration said his face was looking like a beaming moon at that time. So as if he's feeling much better. So people get happy, and because of that, Abu Bakr, after finishing the prayer, everybody thought, even Ali and Uthman, everybody thought that he's feeling better. So because last few days, everybody was concerned with his sickness and everybody was staying in the masjid, Abu Bakr said, okay, maybe I can go, because Abu Bakr had a wife and children at that time, little far from the masjid. So it's like another suburb or something you can say. So he said, okay, since Rasulullah is feeling better today, I'm going to go see my wife, and then I'm going to come, because I haven't been gone there for a few days. So Abu Bakr went there. Ali also went outside to do something. But just after a few hours, the sickness got more and more worse. And at that time, Rasulullah was sleeping, in the bed of Aisha radhiyallahu anhu, and he was feeling more fever and more headache, and he was telling in again and again, innal sakaratul maut, meaning the death has its pangs. So even Rasulullah also feel the pangs of the death. It is very painful for him. Sometimes we see people, before they die, they are going through a lot of trouble. And we have a tradition, in our culture, oh, this guy has a very hard death. Maybe he has some lot of sins. No, it's not like that. Everybody will have the pain. Some people die, different way, and some people die in sleep. And we say, okay, he had a good death. Maybe not. Because the way the soul is taken, that's a different thing. So Rasulullah also felt the pangs of the death. and he was very, very much upset. At that time, because all the Sahaba were a bit different way, Usama ibn Zaid, he was waiting in the outskirts of Makkah because he was supposed to go to the Sham, as we mentioned before, but because of the Rasulullah sickness, they halted. So he came to visit Rasulullah, and when Usama came, Rasulullah couldn't even talk. Only thing he could do, he could point his finger to Usama. He was pointing the finger to Usama and pointing the finger to Ab. And as if he's telling that, Allah is with you. So you go ahead, although you're young and everything, I want you to go ahead and charge Ashams, the way, the task that I have given you, you should follow that, and Allah is with you. So he couldn't even talk at that time. Then came the Fatima, because Fatima was also living just beside the masjid, and she heard that the sickness got worse. She ran, and Fatima, as you all know, she was the most beloved daughter of Rasulullah, and at this time, Rasulullah has nobody. He lost his beloved wife Khadija, he lost his uncle, he lost his grandfather, he lost his father, mother. All his children are passed away. If you think, it's very easy to listen, how can a person can lose all children? Do you think he doesn't have pain? If you lose your children now, one child, if someone loses one child, all life he becomes sad. If our children has any sickness or anything, any permanent disease, we can't even smile at all. And our Prophet Muhammad, he lost almost 6 children before Fatima, and Fatima is the only one living at that time. And it was said in different narration, whenever Fatima used to come to see Rasulullah, he used to stand up and he used to go and kiss Fatima on the forehead. So Fatima came and he said, "Oh Abati, oh my dad, how much suffering you are going through now?" And then Rasulullah said, "No, today is the last day, my daughter. After that, your dad won't have any suffering." Then he called Fatima close to her, and Fatima went close to Rasulullah, and Rasulullah said something on her ear, and she started crying again. Then he was crying and she was about to pass the door, and Rasulullah called her back again. "Fatima, come back again." So Fatima came back again, and he said something else in the ear, and now she started smiling. Then later on, actually, Aisha radhiyallahu anha asked Fatima, "What did Rasulullah told you in your ear? That you cried in the beginning and then you smiled in the beginning?" So Fatima told Aisha radhiyallahu anha later on that when I went to my dad, he said at the beginning that today is because today I think today this is my time, and I will pass today. So this is my time is finished, and that's why I understand my father won't stay with us anymore. So that's why I cried. And then he called me back again, and he told me, "You will be the first one to meet me in Jannah. From my family, Fatima, you will be the first one to meet me in Jannah." And that's what happened. Fatima radhiyallahu anha, she passed away within the 6th month of the passing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also Rasulullah told Fatima that you will be the leader of the Jannah for all the women. So after that, Abdurrahman is another son of Abu Bakr, and he was the brother of Aisha. He also came, and he had a miswak in his hand, and Rasulullah saw the miswak, and he was looking at the miswak. He couldn't talk at that time. So Aisha radhiyallahu anha, she understood, because she is his wife and she's been with Rasulullah for so long. She said, "Do you want the miswak?" And Rasulullah said, "Pointed, yes, I want the miswak." So she got the miswak from Abdurrahman, and she softened the corner of one side of the miswak, and Rasulullah hold it and he miswaked it. As if he is miswaking, he's getting ready to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a fresh hygiene and everything. Because this is what he did. Imagine he's dying and everything, but he still wants to be fresh and looking nice and everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the pain increases more and more, and he was saying, Allahumma gfirli, Allahumma harmi, Allahumma hikni bi rafiqul ala. Allah rafiqul ala means, "Oh Allah, forgive me, have mercy on me, and put me," the rafiqul ala means, "Put me in the highest companion," meaning take me to the place where I can meet the Allah. And who is Allah? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the Allah. So he's asking, "Oh Allah, take me close to you subhanahu wa ta'ala." And then slowly, his talking was going slow and slow. He couldn't say anything else. Only the lips were moving. And the last word he said, "Ar-Rafiqul Ala." He looked up on the roof, and he said, "Ar-Rafiqul Ala." And that is the last word our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And the scholar said, Ar-Rafiqul Ala means that Allah has chosen him to call him beside him, so he will be in the company of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after this one, the reaction for the companions. So obviously, when this has happened, the news, Aisha radhiyallahu anha, she said, "I couldn't hold my tears." So obviously she was a young girl and a young wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she screamed. So everybody rushed to the room, and they saw Rasulullah passed away. And as you all know this story, Umar radhiyallahu anhu, he couldn't even take it. this mountain Omar, the giant Omar, he's so brave guy. He couldn't take the news, and he took his sword out, and he said, whoever says Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has died, I'm going to chop his neck off. These are the munafiqun. Like the Musa went to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 40 days, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also went. Now he will be back. He's not dead. So he was like this. And as I mentioned, Abu Bakr was not there at that time. So, so some people went to call Abu Bakr, and they called Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr came back, and Abu Bakr, first thing Abu Bakr did, he went to the room of Aisha, and he saw Rasulullah sallallahu was covered in the cloth, and he opened the cloth, and he said, Fidaka abiya ummi. Oh my Rasulullah, I give my father and mother for ransom. What I can do to bring you back? And then he kissed the forehead of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, how beautiful are you in the death and in your life? How beautiful are you in your death and in your life? And then after that, Abu Bakr came out of the room, he went to the masjid, and he told Omar, oh Omar, sit down, because Omar is the only person Omar listened to is Abu Bakr. So Abu Bakr told Omar to sit down, but still Omar didn't listen to him. He still couldn't take it. But then Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu, he went to the mimbar. And when he went to the mimbar to say something, he didn't went up to the mimbar. And actually the Rasulullah mimbar has 3 steps like this, and he stayed in the first stair. Nobody since then, nobody has the audacity to stand the place Rasulullah used to stand. Because that is the honor, that is the respect. Even in that situation, look at the wisdom of Abu Bakr. How much thinking, how much respect, how much love he is for Rasulullah. Even in that situation, he didn't went up to the top. He stayed there, and he said to the same ayah that I showed before, وَمَا مُحَمَّدْ رَسُولُ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ, meaning whoever used to worship Rasulullah, let him know the Rasulullah died. But whoever worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu al-hayyul qayyum. Allah is the high, Allah will never ever die. So, and then he said, there are many prophets come before Rasulullah and they have passed away, and also Rasulullah will pass away. But that doesn't mean that you're going to go turn away from Islam. And after listening to this, Umar understood. He said, it's like it's a new thing. I didn't know that this is from the Quran, as if it's a new wahi coming to me. But then after that, they all understood. They took the message, because for us we don't take it, because we don't live with Rasulullah, because they passed their life. They did war and everything with Rasulullah. So Rasulullah is like a father figure to them, a prophet to them, a teacher to them, a guide to them. So their love was quite different than we can imagine from here. And the last thing, the funeral rites and the burial of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Obviously, that time for Rasulullah, because there was no imam being selected, because the selection of Abu Bakr was a different way. So people came from different places. So the Monday after Zohar, Rasulullah passed away, and people used to come and to his room, and they did the janazah by themselves. So a group of people come from that tribe, maybe 5 people or 10, they stand and they pray the janazah. Some people come again in Asr time, they pray janazah. So different people come and different time they pray janazah. And the ghusl time, when the ghusl time, they give ghusl to Rasulullah on the Wednesday. So the whole day of Tuesday, they left the dead body like this, because so that people can come and pray their janazah. And then on Wednesday, they give the ghusl. And when they went to the ghusl, Ali al-Abbas, because they are the Ahle Bayt, they were there, Ali radhiyallahu anhu, and al-Abbas is the uncle of Rasulullah, and al-Abbas has 2 sons. So all these people went there to do the ghusl. But then they thought, how are we going to give the ghusl? Because the sunnah of give the ghusl of the dead person, you have to take the clothes off. But this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They don't know what to do in that time. They are not, they are not out of the respect. They can't even think they take the clothes of Rasulullah from his body. At that time, it is narrated in the books, and most of the books say the same thing, that all of the people, 4 or 5 people who were there, they fall asleep, meaning that they just lost their conscience. And all of them heard a voice in their ear, they give him ghusl with the clothes on. And it is narrated by the scholars and in the books of the historian. They said, this is from Jibril. And all of them wake up, probably 10 minutes after, they all woke up, and they said, yes, I heard in my ear, someone told me that, give him the ghusl with the clothes. And the other person, Al-Abbas, was, yes, I had the same thing. Everybody had the same thing. They had the same thing, but they were unconscious. And then after that, they gave the ghusl of Rasulullah with his cloth on. And they had 3 garments, 3 white garments from Yemen. They were expensive garments. At that time, the Yemeni clothes were very expensive. So they put the Yemeni cloth. And at the night of Wednesday, and that time actually they are deciding where to give the grave of Rasulullah, where to put him. So some say we should give him to the battlefield of Uhud, because the people who passed away in Uhud, they are very close to Rasulullah. Some say no, we should give him the burial in the Jannatul Baqi. Then Abu Bakr came and he said, no, I heard Rasulullah said, any prophet, whoever dies, he should be buried in that place. So any prophet, wherever he dies, the qabr, the grave should be in that place. So he died in the bed of Aisha. So they moved the bed and they dig the grave in that place, exactly the same place, and they put Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that one. And then once they'd done that, they came out, and Fatima came and she asked Anas radhiyallahu anhu, how could you give dust, how could you put dirt on my dad? How could you put dirt on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Don't you feel anything? Then they said, yeah, Fatima, what can you feel? We feel like, this is the most darkest day of Medina. With the day when Rasulullah came to Medina, that was the brightest day, and today is the darkest day. And some of the Sahaba say, we feel something in our heart, it is not like the same. It is like a missing something thing. And Rasulullah mentioned in a hadith before that, the biggest calamity for the Muslim ummah is the death of Rasulullah sallallahu. And that is the first sign of the day of judgment. And Rasulullah say in a hadith, if any of my ummah, if any of the person of the ummah have any calamity in their life, let him remember the calamity that is caused by me. Meaning, he's telling that if you have any calamity in your life, any problem in your life, if you lose someone you love, think about the loss of Rasulullah sallallahu, because the ummah hasn't lost anything bigger than the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I finish with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu, and inshallah ta'ala we'll finish with this one. During this day, during this sickness time, one day Rasulullah, as I mentioned before, and this hadith has different narration. So one of the narrations say that Rasulullah went to the Uhud, all the Sahaba were there and he was making dua in the Uhud. And he said one of the hadiths that, how I miss to see my brothers. The Sahaba was standing behind him and he is saying, how I miss to meet my brothers. The brethren, in Arabic is ikhwan. So the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, we are here. We are your ikhwan. We are your brothers, aren't we? Rasulullah, no. Wa antum ashab. You are my companions. My brothers are those who haven't seen me, but they believe in me. And who will give their family, their wealth, their everything to get a glimpse of me. And I will be waiting for them in the Al-Kawthar. This hadith is for us. We haven't seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We haven't heard him, but we believe in him. But do we really are those kind of people that Rasulullah is talking about? We should think of that way. Sometimes, we are the people, some of us, when you think of something, a hadith, a sunnah, we say, oh, this is a sunnah, we shouldn't do it. No, don't be like those people. If you don't know Rasulullah sallallahu, how can you love Rasulullah sallallahu? If you don't love Rasulullah sallallahu, your iman is not complete. As simple as that. If you want to be the people like this, bring the sunnah in your walking, in your talking, in your working life, in your family. Learn about Rasulullah sallallahu. We are finishing the Seerah here today, but brothers, take the Seerah in your life. Talk about Rasulullah sallallahu every day with your family. Something about that. Even if if your child is going to the toilet or something, hold his hand and say, okay, put the left feet first, because this is what Rasulullah said. Imagine, just think of today, how many times you take the name of Rasulullah sallallahu, except for the salah. In salah, we are bound to take his name. When you attahiyatu, when you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alayhi. Other than that, how many times you bring his name in his mouth? Did you talk about him with your family, with your friend? Probably not. But we should be like this. If we are like this, if we bring the sunnah in our life, then we will be the people that Rasulullah was talking about here. May Allah give us tawfiq to be the people that Rasulullah is waiting for, and we are waiting for to meet Rasulullah sallallahu, and then we will go to inshallah ta'ala Jannatul Firdaus. Jazakallahu khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.